One of the things that makes Code in Place so special is that the students in the course actually meet in small groups with a volunteer teacher once a week, where they get to go over different course material in this small group setting. So what that looks like is Code in Place has all of these students, but they also have thousands of people who volunteer to be teachers every year. And that actually makes us the class in the world with the most teachers, which is really exciting. Another thing that makes Code in Place so amazing is it's this ecosystem where we're able to research different ways that students learn and also different ways that students teach.
I can tell you about one of the crazy experiments we got to try with Code in Place, and it kind of gives you an insight into how we think the future of education could look like. So Chris and I were thinking once, what are the parts of the educational experience that we find extremely unpleasant? We view education as this beautiful thing, like it's very joyous, like students come to learn, teachers come to teach, everybody's happy, it's sunshine and rainbows. But there's one aspect of education that turns everything sour, that's like a focal point of mistrust and tension in the educational experience. And that's, of course, exams and assessment. So we were thinking, what's a way to kind of replace exams with something that still gives students a measure of their understanding, but is way more fulfilling and kind of good for the world. And so we had this crazy idea, which comes from this one insight, which is, one of the best ways to know if somebody understands something is to see if they're able to teach it to someone else. And so the idea was this: what if, instead of having students do a midterm exam, we had them kind of teach the concepts from their exam to students who were slightly behind them, and just measure how well they were able to teach. And so we ran this experiment last year with Stanford students. So we had a bunch of Stanford students who were doing an intro programming class at Stanford, and we had the Code in Place students who were doing the exact same class, but just 3 weeks behind. There's this perfect opportunity to see, could these students who are a little more advanced help the students who are a few weeks behind? And so we ran this randomized controlled trial, like a gold standard of experiments. And we saw something very interesting. We found that when you have students do a teaching session instead of a practice midterm exam, and you compare how those students do in an actual midterm exam compared to the class average, they do almost 30 percentage points better than the students who didn't do a practice teaching session. So that's kind of a crazy result, right? It's like, instead of studying for your exam by reading books or cramming with practice exams, you can go and teach students, sort of do a service to the world. And so this is our idea of assessment via teaching, which I think is extremely exciting, right? It's like you replace sort of a negative thing like exams with a very positive thing, such as helping other students. And in the process, you develop as a teacher, and you sort of develop these very important leadership skills and responsibility that will serve you for the rest of your life.